On Mei, you can always make someone miserable. Always, always, always. It's the most misery-inducing hero in the game.
So starting to play Mei from university's team, and I'm not nearly there yet. So I assume this will be appreciated muchly. So one of the things that I think puts you into the best Mei category for me is the fact that you always had like the variety played on. I think it's really easy to just look at like the Brawl mirror, right? The Sigma mirror, the Rhine mirror, learn how to play Mei into that. And that's historically what Overwatch Mei has been. But obviously you through your own creativity and also the demands of the not being able to play dive as much, have had to learn how to play Mei versus everything. Compositions historically where Mei wasn't as good. So to me, the reason why that's important, I'm going to finish this monologue, I promise, is because that's more akin to what you're going to be experiencing in ranked, right? Where how do I play Mei into Widow? How do I play Mei into Winston? How do I play Mei into Tracer? How do I play Mei into Ryan? How do I play Mei into Bastion? And so on. And I think that you're the best person in the world when it comes to answering that question. Are there any things that initially, if you're playing Mei in ranked, no matter that you think that you got to be thinking about this or that, regardless of what you play into?
I think the first thing you've got to think of is, hitting your shots. Hitting shots is... No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's important, but yeah.
I guess thinking about what the biggest threat on their team would be is, or thinking about what lane of the map you want to control, depending on the comp, So right now, it's a Sig mirror a lot in ranked right now, so you got to decide where you want to control and then where you're going to fight, basically. So what choke you're going to wall and stuff like that.
Sure.
So like against this comp here, you could decide that you want to sit on an off angle and deny either of the DPS taking it, or you can decide to just not let their Ryan play the game.
Sure. Sure.
Usually in like low level, if you stop the tank from playing the game, you'll just win. At a low level, if the tank has got all the pressure on them, usually the DPS aren't good enough to play around that properly and just feed. So in a situation like this, if you just play to stop their Ryan, who doesn't have a Lucio or any kind of support really, like if you get one wall on this Ryan, like he loses all of his HP instantly and can't do anything. You're probably not going to kill him because of the comp that you're on, but
sure,
you can. This Ryan shouldn't be able to play the game right now.
Okay, makes sense. So you're basically saying like when the opportunity presents itself just to make the tank miserable, take it. But then if that's not available, control lane, control DPS, and so on.
On Mei, you can always make someone miserable. Always, always, always. It is
yourself.
You are. It's the most misery-inducing hero in the game.
Really?
You can always stop something. I think it's part of why I enjoy her so much, because you're ruining other people's day.
Okay.
Because whether you choose to stop the Ryan from playing the game here, or you choose to sit on an off angle and stop the Genji or Hanzo from taking it, like if a Genji runs into a Mei on an off angle, the Mei wins. If a Hanzo runs into a Mei on the off angle, it's a bit rougher because he's a hero that has one-shot potential, but the Mei should win, because Hanzo can't even one-shot Mei anymore.
Right.
I think she's the single best 1v1 DPS in the game right now. Like she can always 1v1 any hero basically. The only heroes you need to be scared of 1v1ing are other Meis and like Widow maybe, or like a full charge shot Sojourn.
Sure.
So you can always choose to just deny an angle, make someone miserable. You can block off heals with wall to make people miserable. It's just a misery-inducing hero.
Sure. So if I were to like visualize this, you can either play main, deny the enemy tank, or you can take a lane here. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily take the lane here, but like let's just say the lane here. Yeah. And if the Genji or Hanzo decide to take this off angle, they can't 1v1 you. They might 2v1 you, but that's good because it's more resources.
If you've got 2v1 on you, that means your team has number advantage somewhere else.
Now, she's good at that because of the HP and ice block, I assume.
Yeah, she's good for self-sustain. Like,
right.
Well, firstly, she's got the damage to win the 1v1, right? Like, she's got similar damage to like Hanzo on a flank, like
sure.
Maybe not burst wise, but like similar as in like you can 2-tap people. Like Hanzo can 1-shot obviously, but you've got good damage. But she's also got 2 abilities that like extends her time on the flank and keeps herself alive. Like her left click is so broken right now that if you get close range against anyone, like unless they 1-shot you, you will win the fight.
Right.
Like, so like it. If it was me as the Mei here, this first fight when I don't know what comp they're on and stuff, I'd walk main. I'd maybe look for a wall on Ryan if he's overextended, and then I would just play it by ear from there. If there's an angle that I don't like, I would go get rid of it. If I wanted to just AFK main to stop the Ryan from doing something, I'd AFK main.
Sure. I'm sure we'll get to this question in a second, but I one of the things that I like to do with Mei is if I find value with walling their tank, sometimes I'll try to wall the tank and then also control the angle at the same time, just so that I don't have to worry about shooting shield. Is that viable or not as much?
It's situational, you know. Like if you think you can get a wall and your team will be able to follow up on it properly, because like for example, if you wall this Ryan right now in this matchup, he shouldn't die.
Sure.
Like, so it doesn't really matter if you then follow up on the wall. Like it's not gonna.
Sure.
It's like an extra 100 damage, maybe not
Sure.
even if it's silver armor. So if you can then control an angle at the same time to stop it, like
Sure.
on London all the time, I'd play to like wall like something off and then play to go stop another angle. Like I'd wall an Ana off so she can't shoot, and then I'd go control a Genji angle instead. You know, like I wouldn't. You don't need to hyper focus on your just because you've walled someone doesn't mean you need to be the one to kill them.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay, so just using wall just for split value and then getting value elsewhere is okay.
Yeah. Like right now, I walk up. Like this wall's fine. It forces them all. Like the amount of space that's just been made off that wall, even though it's placed wrong. Like obviously, rather perfect cutoff. But
so as in like no gap here, basically.
Yeah. No. Obviously you'd rather not be able to run, but like their Ryan's been well, he hasn't force pin in, but their Ryan either has to full AFK or pin in. Their Hanzo's had to run away. Like you've literally just gotten the entire map off this. Like your entire team has been Kalen'd, unfortunately, but like
freaking Kalo, man, hate that guy.
Yeah. Like it wasn't a bad play. I think you could have been more aggressive even on the first fight. Actually.
Got it. Okay.
Like, you could have gone for the wall early, denied the space early, especially because I think he saw the Hanzo first. So if he just walled main and then walked on Hanzo, you force that Hanzo out, you've got the space main. Like you're fine with that. These are good walls. We call these cum walls on London and Team UK.
I don't even want to know why.
But anytime you can stop the people from running completely, it's a good wall. In this matchup though, you have got to be careful. Like if you get a wall on a tank, you need to know if you can kill it or not. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, if you wall a Sig, so like say the meta comp is like the Sig Mei Lucio, right? If you get a wall on the Sig in that matchup, your Sig has to hit the rock to kill it. So the moment you see that your Sig doesn't hit that rock, there's like a decision to be made on if you keep following.
Right.
But like in this matchup, if you wall this Ryan, you're never going to kill him actually.
Right.
So you can wall him for pressure to force them back, but you shouldn't be looking to kill the tank off this. You should be looking to take space, chunk them down, you know, get onto another angle after, you know.
Okay. So it's basically like I can't kill Ryan fast enough with just a wall here. Like even if I like you can see it right even here, right? So we get a nice wall. But really it's just breaking shield more than anything else.
I mean, I'm sure you got like 4 people looking, well, maybe you don't, but you have at least 2 people looking at Ryan right now. He's taking no damage. All the damage he took there is because he didn't shield a rock.
Right.
It's nothing to do with the wall, right? Like, also, it's good to be mindful of like the good spots for wall. So like, the wall he just did wasn't great, and if he just saved it to do on the bridge, it's like a really easy spot to do.
Gotcha. So instead of walling here,
if he walled on that bridge there,
here,
like this is a lot easier one to make. It forces them to either drop to the low ground after, which is then really bad for them as well.
Gotcha. Okay. So overall, though, just understanding when the wall is just to like pressure, we're not hard committing because I can't get the kill, but it's still a good wall for resources.
Yeah.
And here, just no ice block, really.
Yeah, I didn't use ice block. I'm not even sure if they knew the Hanzo was there. If they were trying to wall him off, maybe I'm not sure. It's just if you knew the Hanzo was there, you should have walled and then dropped. You shouldn't like awkwardly drop and wall on the same frame and give Hanzo the chance to shoot. That's maybe a good wall.
They'll still
That's a cum wall. We love those walls. He can't run. And because he was already low, you managed to get the kill on him.
Yeah.
But in like a pure 5v5, if you get that wall, he's not dying, you know? Like
just breaking shield. And sometimes
it's hard to kill Ryan when you wall him, right? You basically need your own Ryan to consistently kill a Ryan if you wall him.
See, this is where I think like even understanding that can change your positioning here. Because if I look in this situation here, I don't see any reason for me to walk any closer. Yeah. You know? So would you just stay in here and just freeze?
Yeah, I'd just be left clicking. With how strong left click is right now, like you should just be left clicking 9 out of 10 times anyway. The only time you should really be right clicking in a fight this close is if you don't have enough time to kill them with left clicks. So like if say you're in a Mei 1v1 and they got their left click off first, so if you just left click down to 0, you'll die first. Or if it's a Hanzo at point blank with Storm Arrow, maybe you decide to go for the right clicks first. Like
Right, try to burst, basically.
I tend to do it more against other Meis, you know? If you don't have enough time to kill them with the left click, then you should go for right clicks, but if not and you're in range for left click, you should probably be left clicking right now.
Right, makes sense.
Alright, so now, because you've got Mei ult, this Ryan is actually killable still, so now like a wall on him. You gotta care about Kiriko cleanse, obviously. It's a good wall.
Oh no.
It's actually really, really easy to block these if you're aware they're coming, you know? The only time you should get shattered if you have ice is if you don't know they have shatter. So just being able to like have an idea that they might have it, like if it's been a couple fights and you haven't seen it, maybe just be a little bit scared of it, be mindful of it. It looks scary and hard to do, but it's actually a really easy thing to pull off.
Okay, makes sense. But the big thing is knowing it's coming, right? More so than anything else.
You have to know it's coming. It's hard to not know it's coming and react to it on purpose because it's quite a short thing. Yeah. Quite a short like.
We are on the flank.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it.
Ooh.
Nice. Left click, left click, left click. Run at her and left click. The Moira isn't gonna like. Okay. The Moira like right click doesn't out damage your left click, so if you just close the distance her and left click, you're fine. I don't hate the wall on the Kree. I don't. Can you watch the Mei ult again? I don't love the Mei ult.
Yeah. It kind of felt like we just kind of panicked and threw it.
Yeah, you drop the wall for no reason as well. I think, right? Like that, you can just left click that cast and he'll die. And I don't think the Mei ult was needed. Mei ult's way too good an ult to waste, unfortunately. As fun as it is to waste it.
It's more about the mental damage than anything else.
Yeah, no. I'm a big fan of wasting it, but I shouldn't be, you know?
You teach what you cannot do.
Yeah. So again, just you have an Orisa now, so these Ryans are actually a bit more killable, but you're probably still not going to kill him on walls, but yeah, you can either play to mark this flank on the far right that I assume someone's going to take, or you can play to wall the Ryan here.
So you're saying either like win tank trade here or like hold off angle here, basically.
Yeah, because the thing is, Mei can soft hold versus this Cass Hanzo. Like, there's a chance you get one shot in 0.1 seconds, but if you don't, you'll win usually. You know, like you just gotta like play it slow, jiggle peek it, and you said this is like a uni team, right? So it's not a ranked game, right? Or is
it is a ranked game. This person is playing for their uni team.
Right. If you're doing a play like this on an actual team and you're able to communicate and say, "Oh, I've got 2 on me," like your team should then be able to, rub their little brain cells together and figure out.
Sure.
That they can do something on the other angle.
Sure.
Or, if they can't do something on the other angle, they should then figure out that they should come and help you instead.
Sure, sure. Now, I've got something in chat. Is it better to go for the ice block on Ryan Shatter deny or the ice wall deny? Guess it's one of those depends questions.
If you can use wall for it, use wall for it. Wall's like a little bit harder to do. It's still fairly easy, but it's not perfect. Like, and if you use wall, you can save your team too. It's just ice tends to be. You tend to usually use your wall in the fight before that point. You tend to usually need your wall before the shatter comes out. If that makes sense.
Almost to force the shatter, right?
Yeah, it's such a good cooldown that you just use it to progress the fight to then either make them need the shatter or win before they even shatter or something like that, right?
That makes sense.
So it tends to just be an ice. I feel like the only times I ever try to wall it is if I've got someone like Cloudy on my team who's like made it clear that he's not going to shield us this fight. Like if you know that you're getting 0 shield this fight in like a Ryan Mirror, then 100% save your wall for it, right?
Sure.
And then it's really good.
Sure.
But if not, I think just be selfish, save yourself, not your team.
Sure. So main stuff so far, maybe reacting to the shatter a little bit. Maybe some of the wall placement. It seems like a lot of details, but nothing overarching too bad.
Yeah, you got to know the tank thing is really important too, because now you're on Bastion. You wall this Ryan. He's a real chance he dies. Like he won't die every time because they have Kiriko cleanse still. But
oh my goodness gracious, it feels like maybe a little bit here where like I can't believe that Coach Spilo is saying this, but maybe we're a little too obsessed with the off angle here. When we have a really good opportunity to just win the frontline trade here with the Bastion, with the Zarya, with the fact that we're fighting at high, we're concerning ourselves with an off angle that doesn't really matter right now. Would you agree?
I think at a base level for me, like I know people get mad when people say, "Oh, stick with your tank and like play main and stuff," but if you ever want to just get base value as Mei, you can literally just stick with your tank, and you will just like get like a decent amount of base value. Like if you're with your tank here, you're getting more value than their Cass is being with his tank here, you know? Obviously, the angle becomes a problem that does need solving, but like on this specific point, I don't think that's your problem to solve anyway. It's more one you ignore. But like, if you're up here right now, obviously it'd be better if you had a Lucio in a brawl comp. But if you're up here right now and you wall off their backline, that Rein either dies or has to drop, or like it opens up the fight so much. You know, you could even like play to wall the Rein off and go past him on the rest of the team if you had a Lucio.
Sure.
You know, like there's options to make. Like heroes like Rein is a really good one to wall, I think, because it takes him quite a bit to break the wall.
Sure.
There's like 3 swings, which is like a bit long, but
I was gonna say, to me, it's like I look at this as like you start with your tank. If you see if the enemy tank core is wallable, you can even do what we were talking about earlier, which is get the wall, shoot if you want to, or even wall and just take the off angle from there. Like I think initially, like the core value, like you said, is so powerful that you might as well default there and then kind of flow from where the field goes.
Yeah, if you start main and then the enemy team is like constantly taking angles and stuff, then you can then start contesting an angle instead, right?
Right.
Like if you're like if you turn to where the Hanzo is, right?
Yeah.
If you'd rolled out to the exact same spot, right, and you met this Hanzo here, it's a favorable 1v1 for the Mei, right? The Hanzo has to hit every shot. You have to just hold left click and press ice block at the right time, you know? Like, it's a favorable 1v1. So if you're playing against certain players and you know they like to do this stuff, then you can play for it. But if not, just it's so safe playing main and looking for a wall on the tank. Like,
depends on the tank. Orisa, Rein, Zarya, Sigma.
Yeah.
But if you're playing Ball, Winston, then you might even just, if you know that they're on those characters, might even just immediately roll out on an angle.
Yeah. If they're on a tank that's not wallable, basically anyone that has like vertical mobility, that's a nice Moira orb.
Yeah.
Then you might as well like start on an angle if you want. Ooh.
What's that? We're popping up.
Or Hanzo's feeling himself.
Look at that.
Nice shot. Nice wall.
That's basically just a peel wall almost there. That's something you see too often. Now, here...
Actually, don't expect that from a Diamond player, I feel like.
Yeah. Now, here, I think this is the right decision where we're going to go clear out an off angle because a wall on Rein, nobody's pushing Rein, doesn't really matter. Like, let's go, Especially now that we don't have our wall either, so what's the point of shooting Rein?
Right now, this Rein isn't killable. This is fine. Just freeze him and run away now and hope you get healed. Your Zarya isn't, and you're not getting healed.
See, I think even here, to be honest with you, as soon as we see he's out, we should... I don't know why we stopped and turned around.
I don't mind turning around to check what's happening. I do mind, because he jumps back down the stairs.
And he also walks forward a little bit, too. Yeah.
Because your team should, again, this is where having a Lucio Mei is, and all comps is good, but you don't, it's a ranked game, whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone on top there should die. If you're able to stall the Rein whilst they're killing it, if you keep walking up and you, stop him on that corner whilst your team... I don't know what happened to your Zarya that she had to run from everybody, but, It was the right. You can't kill the Rein there because your Bastion's dead.
Yeah,
and you have no wall anyway, so you have no damage.
Yeah,
you have to try and play top there. It's kind of just a bit unfortunate, honestly. The Rein still has pin and everything.
True.
I don't hate this off angle at the start.
I'll say this is we're not committing to the tank trade here, but at least we're committing to the off angle. Whereas before it was we kind of hovered in nowhere, right? And then we lost both. But now we're committing on the flank, right?
Also, if there's a tank trade happening where it's happening, I actually think this angle is probably better to help the tank trade because you jump here.
Wow.
It's not perfect, but you can jump in and get a wall there.
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
You got to know what you're jumping in and what you're walling for, because you can kind of clearly see that someone's here. You jump in, you wall. You're in, you need to think before you go for these walls and decide which angle you're going to cut off, because unless you're 100% sure that they're pushing down that tunnel, killing your team, this wall is pointless because you get the same value of blocking off everybody from doing it on the other door. I assume this is because you think your team is shattered, so you're trying to block them.
Right.
But if that's the case, you definitely shouldn't drop in. You should jump on this, wall that, and then drop and run yourself with ice. You know, you shouldn't be going in. If you're looking for a kill here, then walling the door is really good, but you have to know what you're going to do, because this looks like a bit of mix and match, where it's you're trying to save your team, but you're also jumping in yourself.
If I had to give one tip from the Meis that I've coached, I'm curious your take on this. It's that knowing when you close the distance and not just indiscriminately closing the distance. I think a lot of Meis have this old Overwatch 2 double tank, I can actually literally freeze you mindset. And you can even see it a little bit here to where I am in, and I just don't think that you can do this indiscriminately anymore. I think they got to be low. You have to have tank support. You have to do something, because I think I see so many Meis play like a tank, even just pushing in front of their own tank, right? And this will get you killed or get your ice block forced every single time.
Yeah. You can only really always go close if it's like a 1v1 against a hero that, like, I mean, you win against most heroes, like, but not against a Ryan, obviously, 1v1,
Right.
like, on a Reese or something.
Right.
Like, if there's a Cass in that Moira's position and you wall everyone off and you want to jump in and run at his face, I'm all for it. Even if you get 2-tapped, that's the spirit of Mei in my mind, you know?
Right.
Like, sometimes you have to take gambles on Mei, I think, where sometimes you'll get 2-tapped, sometimes you won't. Like,
yeah.
But
yeah.
so far it feels like with the walls in the last round too, is that you have an idea, but you're trying to do all the steps of the idea at once. Like, because the other round I think you were trying to wall off the Hanzo, but you dropped in as you were walling, so then you just get 2-taps.
Right.
And like there, you're trying to wall to save your team, but you're also dropping in.
Right.
And
you could wall and then wait. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
then
mean, if you want to drop in, you have to ice instantly. Like, I don't even think it's good, but if you're going to do it, at least, you know, do it properly, I guess.
Let's we're dropping in. Right idea, bad execution, would you agree?
Yeah, like walling off the coal is good, but you're not actually walling off the coal here. Like I think one thing I see a lot of like bad Meis do is wall early. Like, they get an idea, they see that they need to use wall, but they don't wait for the right moment for it necessarily. Because, like, right now, look at how open this space is. What does this wall do? Like, the only reason this wall is good is if you're 10 HP with this coal on you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're just actively needing to block the damage. But if you hold this wall, their Ryan is under so much pressure. There's, like, 3 different... I'm not going to say it. There's 3 different walls you can get here that will completely cut him off from coal healing. Like, if their Ryan pushes around this corner and you get a wall on it, even if there's a gap to the far left, that's as far away from his Moira as he can be. Like, it's a perfect wall, basically. But all doing this wall does is kind of enable them to push in. You can even use the wall, something we called it on Team UK, is to shut the door. Like, you see what's coming at you, you're not a fan of it, you just shut the door on it, walk away. Mei is so good at enabling your team to kite ults as well, which I know isn't much of a thing at lower ranks. But like,
you could wall in front of this Reinhardt, for example, and just you can not take any swing damage.
Wall in front of the Reinhardt, don't take the swing damage, and just chill a bit. You know, like obviously in Diamond you're not going to full kite a Cole. It's just never going to happen.
Sure.
But like, you can wall off this. You can wall off this Ryan, and then you take way less damage anyway. Like, you're gonna kite the Ryan damage, right? Like, you're not. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's better than taking everything.
Question from chat here. How do you work on ice block timing? I feel like I often get my ice block or try and greed my ice block as long as possible, but it ends up getting me killed. So any tips?
Greed is good. I'm always a greed fan. I think knowing what your supports are doing is really important. Like, if I know that I've got my bat flicking at me, I will like never use ice block actually. Like, there was something we called a lot on London, for instance, where me and Landon always knew if the other had lamp or ice block. It was constant. But obviously, you know, that's London. It's a bit different. I think in general, just it's objectively better to overuse than underuse, right? Like, it just is. Like, it's better to use it and not die than die and not use it. I don't really know if there's any specific advice I could give on, like, not dying with it greedily.
Sure.
I guess it more just be like, you've got to notice what... If there's like a pattern with dying with it greedily, I guess.
Sure.
So like, if it's a certain hero, like, say you're fighting a Reaper up close, right? And you're trying to like double dink him or something, and you're greeding, trying to get a third shot out, right? When you should be icing instead. Like, that's something that I had at one point. Then yeah, you then need to realize that you can't go for that third shot and you've got to just ice after it. But other than that, it's just life, you know? It's just something that will happen.
Here's my philosophy. I'm going to run it by you because you know better here.
Okay.
First off, you need to know your HP. I think a lot of low to mid ranks struggle with like knowing actually how low they are because they don't have the habit of checking their HP. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you remember the eye tracker guy with London that went way back in the day? And I remember one of the things that he had the VOD of you playing Mei. I think it was on Oasis. And I was astounded at how often you checked your HP.
Yeah.
Like you
I
may
didn't
not even
even
know
notice,
it, but
honestly.
you just check your HP constantly, and that low ranks don't do that, right? So they'll be, oh, I didn't know I was that low, right? So that's a big one. I think, I think knowing who you're fighting as well is really important too. Like obviously, if I'm playing versus a tracer, you should never die with ice block up, really,
Yeah,
because
it should be really impossible.
the damage is not bursty. But I think like if I'm at 120 HP and there's a Hanzo charging a shot, I might ice block, right? Or if
Yeah.
I've got the mid storm arrow. So I think it depends on who I'm 1v1ing and like getting a better read. Like again, like Widowmaker, it's gonna be tough, right? But you know, like the slow heroes that burn you down should never be like, if I'm 1v1ing a Moira, I never die with ice block. Like, or even timing it on Ryan swings. And then I feel like you should try to use it, but I think greeting that's educational is okay. Like you should try to avoid using it, but always review when you die with it up and be like, what should I learn from that?
You should, it's just, if there's a pattern to it, you should 100% like,
right.
You should look when it happens, and like at the end of most maps in scrims, they'd be like, okay, I died with ice. Why was that? And then, you know, I figured out the Reaper stuff because of that, right? Like
Sure.
I figured out that I was going for like an extra shot on Reaper that I can't really afford to.
Right. Right.
But like for me as well, again, I assume maybe this is less of a thing in lower ranks, but I ego ice block a lot. Like if I'm playing against a player that I just don't think will hit that next kill shot, I might just greed it for an extra shot on my own.
Yep.
Which is also something you can just realize from playing throughout a map against them, you know?
Yep.
It can bite you in the ass, but it can also really help if you're playing against someone that's having like a really good game and you greed it once and then you don't greed it again at all, and then you're able to get better 1v1s against them because you're not greeding when you would have before.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
I mean, knowing your HP is really important. I do vaguely remember watching that eye tracker VOD and being like not realizing I looked at my HP that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's important, I think. So you could also do it just with like the peripherals of like the sound design of like the, you know, the inhale or whatever when they're low.
Red on the screen as well.
Yeah. Carter's got a question here. Go ahead, sorry.
I think whenever I'm red, I check my health. I feel like I do that at least semi-consciously.
Yeah, okay. He was asking, is it better to wall with your tank as a Mei and counter wall, or is it better to let your tank get wall and then go second? So I guess ignoring the tempo, do you try to split the tank from his Mei, or do you try to catch both?
It's a really situational thing, but 9 times out of 10, it will be better to solo wall the tank. You know, if you can just get one, or even just get the other. I think solo walling Mei is actually a bit underrated.
I think it's the best personally.
Yeah, like especially in a Ryan mirror, like you solo wall that Mei, you're forcing ice block and wall out 100%.
Yeah.
She has to instantly ice, and then she has to wall to get out after.
And I think you also get a little bit of an HP advantage because they'll break the wall. You
get HP advantage, and then you also get wall advantage again because your wall cooldown is ticking, and they have to use theirs second.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, Colin. We'll get to that in a second because we're about to have Blizzard again here, so we'll keep talking about it every time this Mei player gets Blizzard.
I like the block on the pin, but also don't know if it was needed. It's cool to do, so star points, I guess.
Oh, what do you mean? Wasn't sure if it was needed. Like you would have gotten healed because it's not a one shot, but
I don't think Keita got pinned unless he walked in. I think he consciously walked in.
I see what you're saying. Like you could have dodged it.
Yeah, like, I think he could have just hugged it.
True, I see.
Maybe not actually. Maybe not, but either way, it's fine.
Real men peak high noon. Holy cow, that is insane. I thought for sure. We definitely had a skull.
Yeah. Or maybe not.
We had the skull.
We did.
We comboed. What do you think about the combo? Ignoring the high noon shenanigans there.
I think Mei ult combo with tank is a bit outdated in Overwatch 2, but for lower level play, it's probably still completely fine.
Okay.
Like I think if you're playing like objectively like perfect top level Overwatch, I think it's probably an overcommit 9 times out of 10. And like I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like if you're like Flux Mei or Grav Mei, I think Shatter Mei is fine because I don't think Shatter's that good or not. But like I don't know if it was needed in that fight first. Maybe it got the Ryan kill actually that you wouldn't have got otherwise. Maybe it's fine. You have to wall here. Get the pressure on the Ryan.
Here it is.
Yeah. Force the carry to TP in as well.
Ooh.
Nice shot.
Ooh.
Nice shot. This is why they sent the VOD, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good Good wall. Yeah.
Okay. Look at
Wall.
this.
Very greedy ice block. I love it. Ice. Ice to heal yourself. Ah.
Missed ult charge, I guess.
Missed like 8% ult charge there.
Yeah,
It's
look at
broken. Broken tech. Oh, go on through the pixel.
Let's do it.
Widow
Wait,
is like one of the few DPS hero. I think it's the only DPS hero that you should be scared to peek a bit. Like, 'cause, you know, you can still actually get purely one shot, but also at the same time, if you don't get hit by that first one shot, you do have the better jewel.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, her head's so freaking big.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, play. Don't wall in the room.
Not
Just hold
good.
the joke and force him to come out.
So talk to me about the Mei ult then.
It's just, what are you throwing at?
That's a good question.
Like, just on point. Like, it's lucky that it gets the Widow. It was never gonna get the Moira. Okay, again, nice clips. There's your serotonin, but
yeah.
like that Mei ult would have been so much better. Like, turned around on the Rhine and left your team to kill it while she went point or something. Like, or just saving it to see if you need it on point later.
So you're saying you need a target, like you need a target.
I mean, using it to secure points is fine, but it's not as if this is a point where the Mei ult covers the entire thing, right?
That's true. That's true.
Like, if it was like Lighthouse or something where the Mei ult covers 90% of the objective, then sure. But Mei ult on that point can only ever cover half because of the pillar. Like it was just like it's overtime. I'm gonna chuck a Mei ult on point and hope type of deal.
Sure. So even if you are gonna touch it on point, throw it with a specific target in mind. Like don't split between the Moira and the Widow and end up barely getting the Widowmaker at all.
Yeah. I mean, you saw the Moira fade. If you wanted to throw it at the Moira there, then do it, but don't throw it awkwardly in the middle. Hesitation with Mei ults is like the single worst thing, I think. Like, if you think you see the opportunity for the Blizzard, you kind of just have to send it, because sometimes it'll instantly go. I think should be more aggressive with your Orisa peek and looking for a wall just for pressure.
So then, like here, what do you think?
Then again, they do also have a Widow, so maybe not.
So then, like, how would you approach this fight?
I'd probably look for a wall on main and swing. Wall on main to block off Widow LOS and heal LOS and swing with my Orisa a bit, and then just.
So swing here, or would you go further, or would you stay with your Orisa?
No, I'd hug like my Orisa a bit. I wouldn't wide swing because again, you're not killing. If your Bastion was pushing with you, you can wide swing.
Sure.
But firstly, it's ranked, so it's never gonna happen. Secondly, it's diamond, so it's never gonna happen.
Okay.
You're not playing to win on this tempo.
What about angles though? Because it's a Spilo VOD, right? What if you rotated to like walled and rotated to this angle here, or even rotated to a deeper angle here? Or is that too deep?
I think it's the only way you can lose, actually. Really?
Also,
in this comp matchup, they're on Rhine. The only way you lose is their Widow killing stuff. If you're able to just push with your Orisa onto their Rhine, he's always going to get forced back, and then you just play. But they can't take this far right angle because they just don't have anyone close enough to it. They'd have to cross the entire point in front of everyone. The top left angle is scary from Widow, and the main angle is scary. You can always block one of those with wall on your timing.
Got it.
So like,
if I swing here, I'm giving the opportunity for a Widow to hit a shot. If
you want to go, if you wanted to win the fight as quick as possible, then yeah, you could swing and try and one-shot people. But I don't see any need for it. Like you're within left click range here.
Yeah, true.
All you need to do is just get a wall on Rhine like that after he again, not a perfect wall because it doesn't fully block, but it was the right idea.
Now, I picked this VOD because this is where things start to get really juicy. Because they swap off of the easy wall tank value, right? So I'm curious, situations like these, just for space, almost, I
mean, that was a perfect wall, I'm not going to lie, I think.
How so?
I mean, wait, well, there's two wall options you can take when you see this window, right? You either wall to try and kill them and hope you don't get one tapped, or you wall the window and then try and walk up.
So wall in front.
It's probably objectively better to not wall in front. You should wall
on it,
just a little bit behind the window so they can't use the window to break it.
Like
basically where your monkey is. Yeah.
Got it.
Now, again, because it's a lower level VAR, I'm not sure which one they were trying to do, but it is better to just wall in front. Because then the thing is they still get caught close anyway because you're right on top of them still. But I mean, considering that, I like the fact that they instantly pushed through the window when this happened. Like Mei, if you're this close to the window as Mei, and you can get a wall like this and just fucking run in. Like, look at how much damage you're doing. It's
unreal.
You gotta care the Widow, please.
Yeah.
But like, again, I'm not sure if it's objectively the right play, but the fact that instantly committed through the window and onto them, I like it.
Sure.
I don't know what you're trying to wall here. At this point, you're your team's main tank, low-key, in this matchup, this weird-ass matchup. I don't hate this. You know, it's fine to keep pressure, just don't overextend on it. Like, you shouldn't be expecting to kill anything there. I like the wall off on the lamp, though. It's a good play. Okay, so I get that the Mei ult got thrown because they bombed. But what's it actually get? I don't know, your monkey's priming them actually.
For me, this is like, who are we even blizzarding?
Yeah, that's the thing. Who are you even aiming at, even if monkey isn't priming?
Because if we're going for a BAP or Diva or whoever, it needed to be a little bit deeper. If we knew that Reaper didn't have Wraith, then she needed to be shallower because this Reaper could have just dodged the Mei ult easily, right? So
it's like, yes, the bomb is probably a timing that you can go for the ult, and you recognize that. That's great, but it's like you've not gone for the ult you should have, you know, like you've not hit in the right spot. Like, and also, I think something lower ranked players tend to do. This Diva still isn't in mech again yet, you know. Like, just because she's not in mech doesn't mean you instantly have to use ult. Like, you've got like a 5-second window.
Don't need to rush.
You've got a couple seconds after bomb. You don't have to rush this ult unless you need you to get the ult off.
See, we're in a situation now where it's, you know,
I'm taking angles there.
A lot of angles, right? Yeah. So there's not a tank that we can consistently wall.
I think this angle is actually, what's the opposite of aggressive? Safe. Like, that was a safe angle. I'd have dropped on wide swan. I like the wall. The walling on Reaper Wraith is really broken.
Before we go, you mean literally dropped and?
I would have dropped him playing this, but like, look at where this cast is playing. Like, he cannot play there if you're here.
Yeah.
Like, you've got a Mega behind you, you've got a wall to help you to the Mega, you've got your own ice block. Like, you don't need to be scared of dropping here. Even if they all decide to come for you, you don't die.
Right. As long as your team is like in a position to fight, and your team is almost in a position to fight, then
I mean, the thing is, like, even if all 5 of them turn on you here, you can run out under and ice, and like your team will take all. Like, you just win off it.
Right.
Like,
nice wall here.
You came back. This is a really good wall. Walling Reapers is always good. You can actually wall Reapers fairly early if they're like facing you, because they're usually, if they're right in front of you and you wall straight behind them, they usually can't turn around and get 2 shots off without dying. If you get what I mean. Okay. Yeah. That's trying to block them off from the window. Just do it on the window, like a little bit behind it so they can't use it. He's like, you're clearly trying to block the damage, but you're just not blocking the entire thing.
Right.
You've still got a BAP and a CAS in front. If you get it on the window, then you'd be able to walk up like you did before. Got a bit lucky to survive. Love that. Taking the angle. Love that. I don't hate the attempts for the right clicks before you go in range.
Okay. Well, surely. I
don't think that's Mei coaching.
No, I don't think that's Mei coaching. Yeah, see, this is what I was looking for too, because now, I mean, like, now we're going full funny mode, right? Not even almost anything that we can wall besides Baptiste, maybe. But so what? Every
single hero, I think, except Reaper in a close 1v1.
Okay.
So if you can force that on any of them, it's good. You can stop. Even Reaper, you can stop from taking an angle hit. Like a pocketed Diva. Like, even an unpocketed Diva, you'll have a tough time against, but you'll chunk her out and she won't be able to kill you, which is just an objectively good thing.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just play any way you want. Play safe, play main, you know, and then like just bully people.
So you're just basically like pick a lane, pick an off angle, and just play.
Yeah. Like I think there's a real argument here that if you just play main, there's no way to lose, actually. Like, they don't have any one-shot heroes that are going to magic pick you. If you just play
you're
main
saying, like, you just, like, shoot icicles over and over.
Wherever your team is, like, you don't even need to be on point here. Like, literally just play on your team, keep them safe. I thought he was going to kill his team. I thought that was going to make it drop. Oh.
Would you drop? Would you drop here? I guess is my question. Once this Tracer starts to tickle us, would you drop into your team?
Diva. I probably would have gone for a shot or two and then just walked back down the stairs. I don't think I'd have dropped straight onto point because we're down 1 as well. But the Tracer didn't follow up or something happened. I don't know. The thing is, this comp is so. Oh.
A little bit of panic, death with ice block. Now,
it's last fight, so I understand the Mei ult, but
this is where we talk about the HP discussion, right? Where you didn't get bursted here. Yes, you should have gotten healed, but you were low for quite some time. and
Also,
still get an ice block.
this Mei ult should never go off, actually. The D.Va is literally looking at you. She's the one shooting you. Any good D.Va is like knowing you're having Mei ult here and is trying to force it off you. It was the D.Va, right? I can't tell if it's the D.Va or the Tracer shooting off.
She was right there. She was right there.
My point still stands that any good D.Va
Yeah.
knows you have Blizzard here.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
I think in general, like, the dropping probably wasn't a good play. You probably could have just played a bit more safe. Like, I don't know how. I mean, your team screwed up early because of the bomb. Like, you're in a rough spot because of that. But
Yeah, I look at this. Maybe this is a bit of a hot take, but when I see Reaper, Tracer, Moira, D.Va, I think like maybe mid-fight brawl once I see a couple CDs. But I just think I'm almost thinking like a sniper in some ways, where I'm not necessarily playing far back.
You shouldn't be playing
But
left
just
click range
poke,
early.
poke. You know, poke. Force those CDs
if-
so that I can brawl later.
If when that bomb came out, you wall it, you ice it, and you kite back to the stairs, and you play from main. You just play to keep your Orisa alive with your wall, and you just play slow like that. You're fine. Like you don't
what can poke
like,
you here? You know.
Having your ice is so important when they get on top of you that you don't want to force yourself on top of them. You want them to have to earn it.
It's
Like,
on them to close the distance because they can't poke. You can.
Or get to use a funny word. Put the onus on them to close the distance. You know?
English. I know that language.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You know, make them have to walk through no man because you 2-tap or 1-tap everyone on their team except D.Va.
Yeah,
like
makes sense.
Reaper has a really easy right-click headshot hitbox. Moira's a bit iffy. Bap has a really easy one, and you know the Tracer Mei matchup is just
Sure.
It depends on the players really.
So we talked a lot about being deliberate with our Blizzard. We talked a little bit about some positioning, being deliberate with our walls, and even some about the weapon dynamics here. So any final words? Because otherwise, I might open up my chat to see if they have any questions. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, I don't really think I have any final words. I think being able to know how much your ice block is worth is really important.
Sure.
So like in a brawl comp, I can't believe I'm calling their comp a brawl comp.
A close range comp.
In a close range comp, like the comp they've got, it's a lot more important because if it's getting forced, it means they're on top of you. Yeah. Which means that they should have had to walk through everybody to get on top of you. You don't want to let them force that easy because then they will just kill you.
Sure.
Like it's not like whereas like if you're playing like a poke comp and you have to ice because you've been put on 1 HP across map by a Sojourn, it's not as important,
Right.
You don't need that ice to live within the next 10 seconds.
Biggest factor of deciding where and when to wall? Kind of a broad question, but anything come to mind?
If a kill is available, if you can force cooldowns, if you can just make their life hell a bit,
Sure.
So like objectively, if you wall off like a Ryan and you get 5 people shooting at him, like that's going to be a different type of value to say walling off an Anna to not let her heal her monkey, but it is still value.
Sure.
So just making people miserable, forcing cooldowns, looking for kills. The where kind of just depends on
always emotional damage. Always emotional damage.
Always go for the emotional damage. Like, look at Mei's face. You telling me she doesn't enjoy inflicting pain on others?
She just looks so placid, just like she's just relaxing.
Like she's ruining everyone's life, and she's just got a straight face.
Yeah. 2 questions about Widow. One, I think you already touched on. Do you ego Widows with Mei?
Yeah, I do, but I don't think other people should. If you're able to hit the right click, so I think any good Mei, fucking like Checkmate or someone like Psycho, Spectra, they can ego Widows on Mei 100%. Any like high level player can probably ego a Widow on Mei, but when you're at a lower rank, it's probably just not worth it, honestly. Like, just keep your head on the ground.
Any maps where you feel Mei is particularly strong?
All the enclosed ones, really. Any like main choke ones.
So maybe parts of Antarctica, Legion Control Center,
like
Village, Shrine, Mecha Base,
Also,
Oasis University.
I didn't actually answer the question. Like, you should play a comp or like.
Oh yes.
Man. I'm of the opinion that I think Mei is soft playable in every comp. We tried to play Mei Dive at one point this year, right? And I don't think it was the worst thing.
I think she's just fairly flexible. I actually think that because once you get angle pilled, backbone on the flank pilled, there's a lot of comps that you can play Mei into.
In Monkey like Sombra Dive, it's not great. It's probably the only comp in the game where I'd be like, I don't want to do it. In a poke meta, I want to do it. In a brawl meta, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Like Monkey makes Mei's life. Monkey soft counters Mei, I think actually. I think that's another one.
Okay.
Because the bubble makes her life hell. Like, cause she doesn't have enough damage to break it quickly. Like, it screws up her left clicks at close range. Like,
she can avoid you entirely, or he can.
Yeah, he can literally just play around you. Like,
You don't really poke him out very well either, like some of the other DPS.
because he's got the armor. Even if you like triple crit him, you don't do much damage. So Monkey's another one. Like,
Makes sense.
Like a monkey dive comp, I'd say is the only comp I wouldn't want to play Mei in. We did try. It was okay.
Sure. I will read out a map. You will make a guttural noise to imply how good Mei is on that map. Circuit Royale. Dorado. Havana.
Oh.
Okay, I'm done. Okay. Okay, listen. Junker down.
Yeah. No.
Rialto.
Yeah.
Route 66.
Meh.
Shambali.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Okay, this one's gonna be interesting. Gibraltar.
Yes.
New Junk
Only with
City.
Sim, though.
Okay, only with Sim. New Junk City.
New Junk City. Yes.
Suravasa. Surely busted, no?
Less than New Junk City, but yes, I think so.
Okay. Blizzard World.
I've come around.
Okay, not second point though. Well, actually, you could force point. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I've come around. Okay, there's a way to play it, but it's not great. Yes, really good.
Hollywood.
Oh, when's the last time I played Hollywood? Fucking hell. Yeah, no, it's really good on Hollywood.
Kings Row.
Yeah.
Midtown.
Yeah.
Umbani.
First point, maybe. Like a bit of third point is good. Second point's a bit meh.
A lot of the escorts and hybrids kind of feel like first and third is juicy. Second point feels miserable.
I think there's a real argument that for most of the escort and hybrids, like it's not the best. It's just I'm biased from London because we figured out how to make it work. You know?
I think it's also tricky too because a lot of the strength of Mei on escort and hybrids on second point is the ability to leverage point, which I don't think the average Mei player will be able to do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so probably a little disclaimer there. Powder ISO, kind of the same thing.
Parisio. I actually don't know if I really like Mei on Parisio at all. I mean, like, it's good.
Not third point.
It's good to force. I mean, even third point, there's so much high ground to play above, right? Like every point has massive high ground to play above. So like, yeah, you can still do it to force point, like you would on the other map. Like if London was playing Parisio, I'd be on Mei and we'd make it work.
Yeah,
but
tricky.
I don't think it's great.
Yeah, Colosseo.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Esperanza.
No.
Very open. Probably the most open push map. Feels maybe not the most open, but
Esperanza is like such a hard map to play Ryan comp on unless you're like playing Ryan Sim and you've got the London strats. Yep. It's so hard.
New Queen Street?
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah.
I think it's underrated on New Queen Street actually. I think it's really underrated. I think the middle part of New Queen Street, when the bot goes up like the two main streets, you can get a perfect wall on that entire corridor.
I remember Crow, some Korean Overwatch YouTuber guy, did a video. And I had to like fact check him about who actually started the Mei stall strategy. I was like, listen, you think this? It was London, bro. Yeah, screw off, you know. Last question here. We'll finish with this one. Blue Yeti asks, I find projectiles unintuitive. What sort of things did you start thinking of when you were practicing right clicks? And I will add my own disclaimer. If anything, what were you thinking?
I didn't really think.
Okay.
I think one of the main reasons I'm actually good at aiming on Mei is because it's like one of the only heroes I've not overthought aim and stuff on.
That in of itself is telling. Jack should learn to listen to that advice, I think.
I let the icicles guide me, you know?
Makes sense.
Wherever they call me, I go.
Makes sense. I think that, like I said, it's probably good advice for more people than it's not. Yeah. Don't overthink it. No,
it's the same on every hero in the game. You don't overthink, you play so much. Mechanically, if you don't overthink, you play better.
True. Caleb is just taking over the lobby.
Caleb is taking over the fucking lobby. It's insane.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see it. This is the chat. This is not a Widowmaker VOD review. Almost as good as my mechanics.
If you wanted.
No. Almost as good as my mechanics. Backbone will back me up. I always dominated in the warm-ups.
Oh yeah, true. I feel like people aren't respecting this Widowmaker.
You know, this almost looks suspicious at this rank. Like, I don't see clips like that in Diamond.
You don't see clips like that in your rank lobbies?
No, that definitely looks. Carter will tell me. Carter's a genius for this. That looks suspicious. That first kill was weird.
To me, it looked like everyone was just jumping.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No,
I
honestly.
don't question the clip itself, the ability to kill 3 or 4. I just question the way that it looked. Maybe it's replay viewer being funny.
And then just forget about the Widow.
Okay, I mean, we just made this.
The Widow that is like 100% cheating because this is a diamond lobby. Looks like they're like trigger button or something.
I mean, nobody's hitting close like these. Nobody's hitting close like these. They have hit, I think, 6 or 7 headshots in a row. Even at the start of the fight there.
Oh, you got a no-reg headshot on the Mercy.
Yeah, questionable. Okay. We could watch and see if our Reaper was toggling, I guess. I don't know. Wait, let's see it. Maybe he gets it.
Toggling on Reaper.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I feel like most cheaters don't tend to swap off the cheater hero.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, true.
Maybe he's just a goat.
Maybe he just is.